Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome aboard another episode of Cruise Compass Live, where our goal is simple to help you become a competent, smarter traveler so you can choose the cruise and vacation that actually fits you. I'm Joe with Premium Travel Group, and tonight we're talking about a cruise line that has been around for quite a while. A cruise line that became famous on television, a cruise line that has a very distinctive style, and a cruise line that I'll tell you right up front is often my go-to when it's just my wife and I sailing. Tonight, we're talking Princess Cruises. Now, I want to make something clear. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Princess is my favorite cruise line, because that's not really how I look at cruising. Different cruise lines are good at different things. But when Tammy and I are looking for a cruise just for the two of us, Princess is a cruise line we find ourselves coming back to. And tonight I'm going to explain why. We're going to talk about the history of Princess, the famous Love Boat connection, the different classes of ships, what the onboard experience is really like, dining, entertainment, families and kids, and where Princess sails, why Princess is such a powerhouse in Alaska. And then we're going to talk about what I think is one of the Princess's biggest advantages right now, the Medallion. So let's get started. Princess Cruises was founded in 1965 when Stanley McDonald chartered the ship Princess Patricia and began sailing cruises to Mexico. And Princess actually has a pretty interesting history. The company began expanding its itineraries very quickly. They pioneered regularly scheduled Panama Canal cruises. They began sailing Alaska in 1969. And in 1972, Princess Tours was created, something that would eventually become incredibly important to the Princess Alaska experience. But then something happened that completely changed the identity of Princess Cruises: television. In the mid-1970s, producers were looking for a real cruise ship to serve as a setting for a new television series. And they found Princess. The pilot for what would become the Love Boat was filmed aboard the original Sun Princess in 1977. And then the rest, well, became television history. The show ran for 10 seasons and featured Princess ships as the floating stars of the series. Ships like Pacific Princess and Island Princess became instantly recognizable to millions of Americans. And honestly, when you mention Princess Cruises to a certain generation of travelers, there's a good chance the first thing they think of is the Love Boat. And that's not just a fun piece of trivia. The show helped introduce millions of people to the idea of taking a cruise vacation. So Princess didn't just benefit from the Love Boat. Princess became part of the history of cruising itself. Now let's talk about the ships. And Princess currently organizes its fleet into 4 distinct classes: the Sphere class, the Royal class, Grand class, and Coral class. So let's break those down a little bit. First, you've got Sphere class. This is the newest generation of Princess ships right now. That includes the Sun Princess and the Star Princess. These are the largest and most dramatically different ships in the Princess fleet. They're designed a very open, modern concept with a huge glass-covered dome area becoming one of their signature features. These ships are big, they're beautiful, and they're definitely bringing Princess into a new generation of ship design. Then you've got the Royal class. These include ships like Royal Princess, Regal Princess, Majestic Princess, Sky Princess, Enchanted Princess, and Discovery Princess. These are large ships that a very strong balance of entertainment, dining, relaxation, and upscale amenities. You'll find beautiful public spaces, multiple dining menus, pools, entertainment, and plenty of places to relax. This is probably the class that many people will picture when they think of the modern Princess experience. Then you've got the Grand class. This is where you'll find ships such as the Grand Princess, Caribbean Princess, Crown Princess, Emerald Princess, Ruby Princess, Diamond Princess, and the Sapphire Princess. These ships are a little more traditional in their design compared with the newest Princess ships, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes there's something really nice about a ship that feels like a classic cruise ship. You've still got plenty of amenities, dining, entertainment, and places to relax, but the atmosphere can feel a little different from the newest generation. And then there's Coral Class, and that's represented by the Coral and the Island Princess. These are smaller and more intimate ships, and this is one of the things I really like about Princess. You don't have to choose the biggest ship in the fleet to get the Princess experience. Coral and Island Princess can get you into itineraries and destinations where the larger ships can't simply go. So you've got options depending on whether you want big and new or smaller and more intimate. So now we know a little about the history and the ships, but what is Princess actually like? This is where Princess starts to separate itself from some of the other major cruise lines. Princess is not trying to be the biggest floating amusement park. You're not going to find a massive collection of water slides that you might find on Royal Caribbean. You're not going to find the same nonstop family adrenaline atmosphere that you might find on some of the other cruise lines. And honestly, that's okay, because Princess is selling something different. Princess is selling relaxation, comfort, good food, upscale amenities, great destinations, and an atmosphere where you can actually slow down and enjoy the vacation. And that's one of the reasons it works so well for Tammy and me when it's just the two of us. Sometimes we don't need to be entertained every second. Sometimes we just just want to sit by the pool, have a drink, watch the ocean, have a nice dinner, see a show, and enjoy being together. That's where Princess really works. Now, let's talk about the pool deck. Princess does have multiple pools and hot tubs, and depending on the ship, you'll find different pool environments and adult-oriented spaces. And one thing Princess does particularly well is giving you places where you can relax. You can spend the afternoon by the pool, you can find a quiet lounge, you can head to the spa, you can visit the sanctuary on ships that offer it, or you can simply find a comfortable chair and watch the ocean go by. And that's an important part of the Princess experience. It's not necessarily about how many attractions they can put on the ship. It's about creating an environment where you actually want to spend time there. Let's address this head on. Princess doesn't have the big water parks and water slides that some of the other major cruise lines have. If you're looking at a cruise and thinking, I want the biggest water slide, I want a zip line, I want nonstop adrenaline, Princess probably isn't going to be my first recommendation. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean that there's nothing to do. Remember, Princess has live music, production shows, movies under the stars, trivia, dance classes, fitness activities, casino gaming, enrichment programs, pool, my wife's favorite, bingo, and plenty of other daily activities. The difference is the overall atmosphere. Princess gives you the opportunity to participate, but it also gives you permission to do absolutely nothing, and sometimes doing nothing exactly what the vacation is supposed to be about. Now let's talk food. Princess offers a wide range of dining options